Nate, your head's glowing, just like Ori. Subscribe to never miss a video, and help us by hitting that like button. Nate, I've been looking forward to this title for a very long time. I'm talking about Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Dude, this game, okay, like wow, what a throwback. This game is one of the most incredible games I've ever played so far this year in 2020. Probably already going to make one of the top 10, if not top 3 for 2020 for me. This game is incredible. If you played Ori and the Blind Forest, think of that times 2. Dude, they stepped this one right up. This is fantastic.
This game is fantastic. I loved it. I unfortunately missed the boat, man, on the first one. I remember seeing trailers, but I just never got my hands on it. But now that I've seen the second one, oh my goodness. Let's get with the graphics, okay? Because visually, this game is stunning.
It is a game that is built on layers, and that is like, so you have the foreground is so dark and it kind of blocks and shadows everything in, but then it layers and kind of builds this puzzle piece for you of everything laid out in front of you. And it is one of the most incredible art styles I've ever seen, witnessed. Like an art book from them, from Moon Studios. I'm in. I'm all in for this one. It is so cool. I'd love to see the design document behind this game, because the way it is, it's one layer, then another layer, another layer, and each layer just adds more depth to the game. So it feels on a 2D plane that it's really like 3D, because it goes back so far, and then you got the creatures that are moving behind it, and then you got creatures that come up in front of it, right? Like there's so much motion always on screen at once, and you felt that.
I did, and unfortunately it wasn't a good feel, because I'm playing on not the original Xbox, but the Xbox One S.
Yes.
And whenever it got out to like a panned out kind of view, I got some serious frame rate issues. So this is, you know, a review in progress, and they have released that they're doing a day one patch. So I'm hoping that it can at least, maybe not completely fix it, but optimize it, because most of the game is really clean when it's not super panned out and you're just on like a smaller view. It's that 60 FPS that I'm loving. But then, my goodness, but when you're trying to platform and kill things, and then you're framing out, it really took away from the experience for me, man.
Which is too bad, because this game I thought would run so beautifully well on the Xbox. So
too many layers, man. There's too many layers.
Maybe that's the problem, right? I'm on the X, all right, and I'm still feeling some of that chug. So we were told the polished version, the more polished version, is really on the PC side of things. So expect the day one patch. And this is why we're doing a review in progress, is because the day one patch, we're gonna see if our skills and everything will get any better because of the patch, or if maybe our score will change at the end of this review as well. All in all though, the story of Ori and Ku is kind of your bird creature, your owl-like thing, right? Basically what happens is you guys go out on a little adventure and you're separated. And it's basically you finding Ku. So you want to go back and rekindle and meet your family and regenerate everybody and away you go, whatever, right? So
it's so beautiful,
so
man.
Cool, man.
The way they do it, like, I watched the beginning of the first one with my girlfriend, and it actually kind of had a very similar beginning.
It is.
Mostly cinematic. Yeah. But it got me right in the feel goods, man. It is beautiful. It's something really nice about it. The creatures they created, they're just super imaginative.
So this time around, I feel that there's more creatures out there that you're actually communicating with and you're talking to. There's a lot more dialogue. Yeah, exactly, right? So there's a guy who give you a map, and there's talking to give you upgrades and skills, and all these people you're meeting out within the game. That is something that wasn't there in the first time around. So to bring more characters in, and the way they tell the story with very little dialogue, but at the same time, it's the mood and the tone and then the atmosphere that's created and how it's all told through cinematics, and then the audio is bar none one of the best. Dude, I can sit back, so I turned on the game and I'm right there at the very beginning screen. I'm waiting to hit the start button. and I just sat there for 5 minutes listening to the opening screen.
Oh man.
Like it is so good. I love the score. I don't buy soundtracks. This is one.
Wow, man, I'm right there with you though, because with the beautiful setting that they've created, this music every time, all the time, even when it gets a little dark and you have to maybe do that boss fight or whatever, the music, everything just like perfect.
Yeah, it's so good. Now here's one of the problems I had. So you pause the game. All right, you and I were talking about this off screen. You pause the game, it says hit X.
To resume.
To resume. You don't hit X, you hit A.
Yeah, you can't even hit B.
Nope. It is A. So there's one little minor thing. The other thing that kind of got me was you start off this game with no abilities whatsoever. So by the time you finish Ori and the Blind Forest, dude, you're like,
fully equipped.
You're completely equipped. So I'm starting from scratch all over again, and that kind of was like, I got nothing. Like I don't even have double jump when you get started. So I was kind of like,
I didn't have that disconnect because I didn't play the first one, so that would be a little odd. Where did his abilities go?
Well, that's okay. That's what I mean, right? So why do I just suddenly start from scratch? I finished the other one, had all these abilities, all these talents and things that I wanted. I knew going forward, and then to jump in, and I had nothing. I was completely stripped. No backstory as to why, and there was just nothing there. So I was kind of like, crap, man. Like I don't even have a simple double jump. And then as you progress through the game, obviously you get all these abilities.
It doesn't take too long, but it
doesn't. It was still just a little weird disconnect. But the game is set up so that you go back to other areas, like that Metrovania kind of thing, right? So that Metroidvania was you go back and forth between the levels because there's certain parts that you can't encounter because you don't have that ability yet.
And I find that not frustrating because of the game's fault, but it's just me. I like to really thoroughly search everywhere.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'm like, oh, when can I come back to this?
Yeah.
Or like, I'll forget about it. I don't remember. And
then you pull up the map and you see a gray part and you're like, oh, I got to get back over there. And sometimes the problem is you're way on the other side and you need to go all the way back to the other side.
And there's no fast travel.
There is a fast travel. So you get your little shrines, and as you save the game, that allows you to jump between levels.
How did I never notice that I could jump between shrines, man?
So you jump between these things, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I'm going back. And typically for me, all I want to do is move forward. So for these kind of games, it's just kind of one of those things. It's a style of game, so I get it, and I appreciate it, but it's not really for me. But this game overall, I absolutely love.
Yes, man.
So Nate, as we said, this is a review in progress because we're waiting on that day one patch. We are several hours into the game, not completed the game yet. So at 5 hours in, I'm 30% through the game.
Wow.
So I still got to get through the rest of the game because we got our reviews a little later than we normally do. So it is what it is, but I wanted to kind of get in on the game and see how this part right now, how we kind of feel when we come back to it next week when we review the final version of our review. But we've had some issues. How do you feel so far?
Mostly good, but they really do need to fix the frame rate issues because when you're platforming and jumping, it ultimately takes away from the experience to the point where I can't sometimes complete things almost. It's that hard where it's that jaggy. So I'm gonna have to give it a 6.5. This game will be significantly better, but it's honestly that bad, man.
Wow, that's because you're on the S, as you said, right?
Yeah.
So I'm on the X. I had a couple issues here or there, so if they can get that polished, but everything else is there. The audio, the visuals are absolutely stunning. The gameplay mechanics, the abilities, though I didn't get them at the beginning, still came along as I progressed, and it's right there. And I'm getting back to that feel of, man, there's so much to do and explore. Absolutely love what I'm into. So far, I'm there with a 9.
Awesome.
Absolutely beautiful visuals and an outstanding score makes Ori and the Will of the Wisps one game to watch for. Hopefully Moon Studios can fix that optimization.